Hey everyone, it's the Tides Changing here, and today I'm going to be doing a building video that is a bit different than the ones I normally do. So today we're going to be making a Home for My Generations Let's Play called Mint Chocolate Chip, and I decided to try doing a speed build instead of the time-lapse method that I usually do because this home is a little bit on the smaller side, so if I use the time-lapse method then the video would be over in about 1 or 2 minutes, or at least the building part would. And plus, I thought it'd be fun to do something different and do a speed build instead, so I hope you guys like this. So now we have already laid down the basic structure of the house and are starting to lay in the floor plan. And this house is pretty simple. It's just a small ranch style home, so really it's basically just a rectangle. But I did add some details to it and it actually turned out to be nicer than I thought it would. And this home is actually based on my grandparents' house, so there's meaning behind this, and that's part of why I chose this simple structure. And, their house was built in the early 60s, in the Generations Let's Play. I'm starting out in the 50s and then going through time, so by the time they move into this house, it'll be almost the 60s in the Let's Play, I think. So this house fits that perfectly, and it's the right style. And as you'll see in a little bit, the reason why I named it Mint Chocolate Chip is because it has brown shutters, windows, and doors, and then a mint green siding on the exterior. And that, of course, is how my grandparents' house is in real life, and I always thought of it as the mint chocolate chip ice cream house, just because of that coloring. Like, it's the exact same colorings you would see in mint chocolate chip ice cream. So yeah, that's where the name came from. So you can see now that all the windows and doors are brown, and there's a side entrance into the house, a front entrance, and then there's also a sliding door out back going to the backyard. And here I'm putting in the siding in kind of the mint green color. And I do change that a bit later, so if you're kind of like, ooh, that looks gross, I do change it slightly and make it a little bit different. Not here, it's actually further past this. I make it look a little bit better than it does now. And of course it also has concrete on the foundation because, that's how my grandparents' house is. And I believe ranch-style homes were very popular in the 50s and 60s. So like I said, this fits in perfectly with the Let's Play, and now I'm just fixing the stairs and adjusting them some. And I also put a nice deck out there in the backyard and some stairs going off of that. And looking at this house right now, it seems really, really small. And of course, I did want to make a small home so that the Sims could afford it sometime soon. But it actually offers a good bit of space for expansion because it has a basement in it. And I leave it unfinished, so, finishing the basement is one way to expand on the house. Also, you could easily add a little addition out to the back because there's a good bit of space in the backyard. And another option is to add a second floor onto this house. And I will probably make all those expansions to this house throughout the Let's Play. And then, once I do all of that, I'll probably just build them an entirely new house. But I plan to keep them in this house for a good while. And, before building a new one. And here I'm just laying out a little flower bed in the front yard there. And trying to pick out a big old tree to go in front of the house. I also hope to do more speed builds like this one in the future, and I will of course continue to do the time-lapse style, but what I was thinking was that for smaller homes, like around this size, I could do speed builds since the videos wouldn't be too terribly long. I mean, this one came to about 20 minutes, which is longer than I thought it would be, but I guess that's not too bad, and that, I could do the time-lapse style for larger houses. And I don't want to do speed builds for my larger houses because sometimes my homes take like 20 to 30 hours to make, which of course would end up with like a 3 or 4 hour long speed build, and no one wants to watch that, and I don't want to do 3 or 4 hours of commentary either. So yeah, I think it would work out really well to do speed builds for smaller homes and then the time-lapse style for larger ones. So that way if you like one style more than the other, you still get to see, you still get to see whatever your favorite is, and if you like both, then you get to see both. So I think it'll work out really well, and it will also allow me to make building videos more often since, speed builds are quite a bit easier to make than the time-lapse style. But I do enjoy making time-lapse videos just because I really like the result and how it looks. And then speed builds are nice and fun too, so, I'm really excited to do a mix of both. The next time-lapse style video that I make will be of the Into the Future house that I'm working on, which you've probably seen pictures of if you've been following me on Twitter, and I've actually been working on that house for about 2 months. So it's coming along really slowly, and that's just because I'm busy with school, and also it's one of the most detailed and complex homes that I've done. It's just probably the most challenging house that I've done in The Sims 3, so it's just really taking me a while to make. And the video for that probably won't be done or up until towards the end of May, because the semester that I'm in is ending towards the end of May or middle of May. I think it's either the end or the middle of May. I'm not exactly sure. I should be sure of that though, but I think it's like the 20th of May. I don't know. But I'm just going to wait until after the semester's over to work on the video for it, because due to how complex the house is, I know that's going to take me longer to make the video, and I really don't want to be messing with trying to do that, you know, at the end of a busy semester, because whenever I make one of those videos, I tend to become very engrossed in it, and I don't want to like put schoolwork off to the side and make this video, because I know I'll do that. So I think the best thing for me to do is just wait till the end of May to put out this video. But I will of course work on the house till then and hopefully have it finished before the end of the semester. And I was thinking about doing another speed build between now and the end of May, just so you know there's a building video in between then. And it'll probably be of a house smaller than this one. I'm not sure yet. You know, I'm not sure if I am going to do another speed build. It depends on how my workload is with school, but I would like to do another one. Something else that I wanted to talk about while I'm just kind of rambling on is that I also wanted to change how I do my time-lapse style videos. So right now, you know, it's, you know, an intro with a story in it, and then the house is built to music, you know, no commentary in it. And then there's a showcase that usually continues the story. So how I wanted to change that is that I want to scrap the stories, and I know some of you really like the stories, but the reason why I want to scrap them is because they're really time consuming and frustrating for me to make. Like, making the stories actually takes longer than doing the whole time-lapse building part, and is more frustrating to me than doing the building part. So it would make the house building videos a lot more fun for me if I just stopped doing the stories. I don't enjoy them as much now as I did in the beginning, and sometimes it's also kind of, you know, frustrating to try and come up with a good story to go with the house. So it'd just be easier on me if I didn't have to worry about doing that, and it'd also make the videos more short and to the point, which might be good. You know, some of you might like that. And another change that I wanted to make is that I also wanted to start doing commentary during the building part, just because whenever I watch my videos, I sometimes feel like something's missing during the building video. So I think maybe doing some commentary during it and kind of explaining my inspirations for the house and just an overview of it and some things that I think are unique features about it, or features that I really like, would add more to the videos and, you know, make them a little bit better, I think. I'm not going to do a blow by blow of, you know, what I'm doing at each moment in the video. I'm just going to do, like I said, more of an overview kind of thing, like how many bedrooms it has, inspiration, things I really like about it. I guess another reason that I wanted to make this change is that, you know, these are house building videos, and I really want them to be focused on the house and, you know, not the story that's going on around them. So by doing this, you know, I'm going to try to focus more on showcasing the house better. And in the showcase, I do plan to still have Sims interacting with the house. You know, I'm not just going to show video clips of it without any Sims in it. And it might kind of in a way be a story, you know, like the story of some Sims enjoying a day in the house, or them preparing to throw a party and then throwing a party in the house, something along those lines. And how I set up this video kind of gives you an idea of what I plan to do, because other than, you know, it being a speed build during the building part, this is pretty much what I want my house building videos to be like, because, you know, after this is done, the showcase has the Sims from my Generations Let's Play interacting with the house, and it also, you know, had a short intro before the building got started. So I pretty much want it to be like this video, but with the time-lapse style instead of the speed build like it is now. So I hope you guys, you know, don't mind these changes that I'm going to make, or, you know, that you like them. And between changing how I do the time-lapse videos and also doing speed builds occasionally, I should be able to put out more house building videos, which I'm sure you guys will like. But now I'm actually going to get back to talking about what I'm doing, since, you know, I just rambled on through a lot of this. So now we just finished putting the furniture in the kitchen, and as you can see, the kitchen is very blue. You know, it's got blue counters and a blue refrigerator and blue stove. And back in the 50s and 60s, it was kind of more of a thing to use color themes in rooms. I mean, because nowadays, you know, you have wood counters and neutral colored countertops, you know, isn't as colorful as it is in here. But back then, you know, they just have a color like blue or green or yellow, for example, and just make a lot of things in the one room that color. And the house that I grew up in was also built in the early 60s. And when I was younger, I think it had a yellow themed kitchen. Like, I know the refrigerator was yellow, and I think the stove was yellow too, but I can't exactly remember because it's been years. And the hallway bathroom in the house was pink. Like, it had a pink tub, pink sink, pink toilet, pink tiles, and then my parents' bathroom had a blue toilet and a blue sink and a blue shower and, you know, blue tiles. It was just all like one color and things that wouldn't normally be a color like that. And like I said, that was more of a thing, I guess, in the 50s or 60s. So that's kind of something I incorporated into this house, like with the kitchen, as you just saw. And also you'll see the bathroom in a little bit, and the bathroom has a yellow toilet and yellow bathtub, and that's the reasoning why. You know, if you guys are like, why is the toilet yellow? That's why I did that, and it's really interesting. It's kind of a different look. So here I'm furnishing the living room, and I wasn't exactly sure like how to furnish a 50s style living room, but I think I got a nice kind of, you know, older look to this room. And I guess back then things were a little bit more, I don't want to say tacky looking than they are now, but things weren't quite as neutral. You know, you had more, wallpaper was a lot bigger back then, so you'll see once I put the walls up that the wallpaper doesn't exactly match the furniture, and, you know, I'm sure wallpaper doesn't always perfectly match furniture. So you have, as you can see, we have a blue polka dotted sofa and chair that match. And I have that rug there, but I haven't changed the color to it yet. And something I do when I'm furnishing, as you can see now, is I put all the furniture in first, and then I kind of change around the patterns, and then, you know, once all the furniture is in the room and all the, you know, colors on them are right, then I do the wallpaper and flooring. So I believe that's all the furniture that I put in the living room. Now I'm just going through and changing all the patterns. So now I'm trying to pick out a pattern for the rug. And I don't know why, but trying to pick out patterns for rugs always kind of frustrates me a bit, especially when I'm trying to use actual patterns and not just a plain carpet, because it's just really hard to find a pattern that matches, especially if you have other patterns in the room. But as you can see here, I chose a pattern, and I think it actually matches things pretty well. And here I'm just putting those same colors onto the curtains so they match. And putting in, you know, a couple last paintings in there, and now I'm moving on to furnishing the dining room area. I should mention, though, that the furnishing on this house isn't based off of how my grandparents' house is currently furnished. I'm not sure how it looked in the past, but yeah, they've updated their house. You know, it doesn't look like it's stuck in the 60s or anything like that. The bathroom being yellow themed, as like I said, you'll see in a little bit, was actually based off of how it was when I was younger, because it did, like I said, used to be all yellow, and they've updated it since, of course, you know, the toilet and sink and shower and all that is white, like how it normally is. But here, as you can see, I just added in some chairs, and I used some of the cheaper ones, you know, some of the cheaper old-looking ones. And, you know, like I said, I was trying to keep the price of this house down reasonably, since I don't want it to be too long before they can afford it, because I don't want to use cheats. I really don't like using cheats in my Let's Plays. But the house came to $56,000, but that's with the truck that's in the driveway. And when I move them in, I'm going to delete that truck, which will bring the house down to $48,000, which I don't think is too bad for all that it has, and all the potential space for expansion that it has. So I believe at this point I have all the furniture in this main area and the hallway. So now I'm working on the floor and the walls. So I want to do a hardwood in it because I guess I'm not 100% sure, but I think hardwood was more common back in the 50s. And it wasn't until I think the 70s that the shag carpet became a thing. So once it's the 70s in my Let's Play, I'll probably change all the wood to shag carpeting just to, you know, keep with the time theme, but until then I'll keep it as the hardwood. And then of course once, you know, if we get closer to the modern day, then I'll go back to hardwood, because, you know, hardwood was in, then it wasn't in, and then hardwood came back in, and now no one wants carpet anymore. So yeah, trends change. And here I'm just, you know, putting in tile into the kitchen, and I used a blue theme tile, you know, for both the walls and the floors, and keeping in with that color theme. And I actually spent a good bit of time trying to figure out the wallpaper for the living room. Like, I just was trying to find one that wasn't too busy, and I didn't want it to be blue because I didn't want it to be too much blue. And, you know, realistically, the wallpaper won't perfectly match the furniture, you know, because furniture changes. So you might put one wallpaper up, and then years later you get new furniture and none of it matches. So, yeah, that's kind of what I was going for, you know, like, I didn't want it to perfectly match. I think part of why this house took me longer than I thought it would to make was because it's a bit of a challenge for me to try and build in, you know, 50s/60s theme, because, you know, I try to keep things in mind that I normally wouldn't have to, you know, like making sure it's as time accurate as I can get it, And I also had to keep the price low for my generation sims. And here, I think is the type of wallpaper that I use. So, you have a stripe on the bottom, and then you have I don't know what to call it. It's kind of like a diamond pattern on the top. But that's just kind of the wallpaper that I used all through the kitchen, living room, and dining room, and hall area. And I like how it looks. It's a little bit busy for my taste, but like I said, I had to keep with the 50s theme. And I'm not really a huge fan of wallpaper, but, to try and be accurate, I did use wallpaper in most rooms in this house. But like I said, it also doesn't match. But here we're moving on to the master bedroom. And I put that nice mirror above the bed, which I really like how that looks. And of course I used, I think, the cheapest double bed or the next to cheapest. I don't think it was the cheapest, but I didn't like how the metal framed one looks, so I just used this one instead. And I tried playing around with putting the bed on that wall instead, but I didn't like how the window wasn't centered in front of the window, so I just moved it back. And here I'm putting in some curtains, and I made them yellow so it was something different than green, because I don't really like having just one color in a room, so I try to have two colors that balance things out, but sometimes I end up with one color just all over the room. And here I was changing the color of the wood that I used and, trying to make it the same all throughout the room. And now I'm just putting some clutter on top of the dresser there because, I like to add some realistic clutter throughout the house. But I couldn't put as much decorative objects in this house as I wanted to because, like I said, I was trying to keep the price down. So that was kind of frustrating for me because, I don't want things to look too empty. But here I'm trying to pick out the wallpaper for this room, and once again, picking out the wallpaper took me a little bit because it's, I don't want it to end up being too busy like I keep saying, but I ended up using this flower type pattern here, and I changed it to this green color. So it's pretty subtle as it is, so that worked for me, and I actually really like that. And I changed the color of the bed sheets to be orange, so like I said, it was something different. And here I'm moving on to the bathroom, which is going to be yellow themed, like I said. So here I'm changing the color of the tub to be yellow. So I went with that light yellow right there. Nothing too bad looking. I think it actually looks kind of neat. And then the toilet, like I said, is yellow. And the sink is yellow as well. And now I'm just putting yellow medicine cabinet up there. Lots of yellow in this bathroom. And making the mirror the wood pattern rather than yellow. I didn't really want a yellow mirror. And here I'm putting a nice little bath mat in front of the tub and making that kind of a teal blue, and then I changed the curtains to be that color and then made these towel here that color as well. So next I just went to go put up a towel rack on that wall right there behind the bathtub. And I guess that's fine. When I put it in there first I was like, oh, it's gonna get wet, that's not right. But one, it's a Sims, things like that don't happen or matter, and also it's a bathtub, so really it wouldn't get wet, it'd be fine. But here I'm putting in the same towel that I had in the kitchen, except for I'm changing it to be the yellow of the bathtub and toilet and all that. And also the wall has yellow tile as well, and I changed the color of the bath rug and curtains. And now I'm moving on to the other bedroom, which is the child's bedroom. And initially I had a girls theme to it, but I wanted to be a little bit more gender neutral because the other bedroom is a nursery. So, I didn't want to just have a girl's bedroom and then, you download the house and you have a boy. So I made it so it would work for both. So I changed it to be more of a blue theme, and it's kind of a softer blue, so, it works for either, I think. And then you got that little bunny lamp, and right here I'm just putting in some kid-themed shelves. And I also put some fish there, but they didn't really look that right after recoloring, so I did get rid of them eventually. Right there, and I ended up putting a poster instead, so I put that kind of, I guess, astronomy themed poster, I guess is what it is. And here I'm changing the pattern of the bed to be more of a striped plaid kind of a pattern, which I think looks a little bit better than that flower pattern I had before. And here I'm just putting in the dresser and a plant next to it right there as well, and changing the color of the wood in the room because I didn't really like what I had before. And now I'm just putting some, toys there on the floor to make it look a little bit more lived in. So you just got, a pile of toys and that mirror from Generations, which has some, postcards or pictures on it and a necklace. So once again, making it look a little bit more cluttered and lived in. And I actually spent a lot of time trying to pick out a wallpaper for this room because I wanted to do a pattern, but then with the pattern on the bed, any pattern I used just didn't match. So I ended up just going with a plain colored wall, which you'll see in a little bit. I did play around with a few different stripe type patterns first, but here's where I just went with this colored wall. So this room doesn't have wallpaper, just has a plain wall in it. And now that that bedroom is done, we're going to move on to the last room in the upper floor of the house, which is the nursery. So I just used this crib here, which was the cheapest one, and I changed it from being a metal frame to being wood, and then I did put those lights up behind it. I'm not sure if they're exactly 50s-ish theme, but I liked how they look, so I just kind of stuck them there anyway. And now I'm putting in the xylophone and shape toy, and also the little toilet for them, you know, to potty train in. And here I'm putting in a plant and just a bunch of toys. And I guess some of them are the same toys I use in the other room, but you know, you only have so many toy options. And a small dresser across from the crib, because with that toilet there, I couldn't really fit a big one in, or else, you know, you either would block the door, block the toilet. And now I'm just putting in a rug in. And I think I actually kept it the same pattern there that was in the living room, because I really like that pattern. But I did change it and make it more of a subtle color, and now I'm picking out the wallpaper for this room. And I once again had a little bit of trouble trying to find one that I liked. So I ended up going with the same diamond type pattern that was in the living room, except that I changed it to be green, and here I'm just messing around with the color of the rug. So now that that's done, I'm moving on to what I did with the basement, and all I really did was I just put some lights in, concrete floor and walls, and a washer and dryer. So now I'm just putting the lights on the outside of the house, and this is about the end of the speed building part. So I hope you all enjoy my first speed build video, and now we will get to see this house, you know, completed.